It was a rainy Thursday evening when Daniel stepped into the small diner on the corner of Maple Street with his 8-year-old daughter, Sophie. They'd just come from her dance class, both a little tired but excited for their weekly tradition, grilled cheese sandwiches and hot chocolate. The diner was warm, the kind of place where the scent of coffee lingered in the air, but as Daniel slid into the booth, something unsettled him. He noticed the waitress, maybe mid-20s, wearing a pale blue uniform, moving between tables with a forced smile that never reached her eyes. At first, he thought she was just having a bad day. But then the signs started to appear. The first was the way she flinched slightly when a man at the counter called her sweetheart, in a voice that was far from friendly. The second was how her smile froze, and her shoulders tensed every time she approached that same man's table. The third came when Daniel noticed her stepping back subtly, keeping just out of his reach when he leaned too far forward. The fourth sign was her hands, shaking slightly as she poured coffee, though she tried to hide it. And the fifth was the way she kept glancing toward the kitchen door, as if silently begging for someone to rescue her. Daniel's protective instincts kicked in. He'd been a single dad for 5 years, ever since his wife passed away, and in that time, he'd learned how to read the small signs of distress, especially in women trying to pretend they were fine. He couldn't just sit there and watch. He caught her eye when she came to refill Sophie's hot chocolate and asked softly, "Are you okay?" For a moment, she hesitated, her lips parting like she wanted to say something. Then she shook her head slightly and whispered, "I'm fine," but her voice betrayed her. Daniel didn't buy it. When the man at the counter made another crude comment loud enough for half the diner to hear, Daniel stood up. His voice was calm, but it carried enough steel to make the man look up. "Hey, she's just doing her job. Back off." The man smirked, but before he could reply, the diner manager emerged from the kitchen, having heard the exchange. The waitress shot Daniel a look, half gratitude, half fear. The manager walked over to the man and told him he wasn't welcome anymore. After a few tense seconds, the man left, muttering under his breath. Once the door closed behind him, the waitress exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for hours. She came to their table, her eyes watery. "Thank you," she said quietly. "Most people just pretend they don't notice." Daniel shook his head. No one should have to put up with that. Ever. Sophie, not fully understanding, offered her a piece of her grilled cheese. It made the waitress laugh, the tension melting from her face for the first time that night. As they left the diner, Sophie slipped her small hand into Daniel's. "Dad, why did you stand up for her?" she asked. He smiled down at her. "Because, sweetheart, if you see someone being treated unfairly and you can help, you should. Silence only helps the wrong person." Sophie nodded, as if storing those words away. That night, Daniel thought about how easy it is to ignore someone else's struggle, especially when it's uncomfortable to get involved. But sometimes, stepping in can change more than just a moment. It can give someone the courage to feel safe again. And in that small diner on Maple Street, that's exactly what happened. If you want, I can also write 5 perfect image prompts for this exact story, so you can use them for YouTube visuals that match every scene perfectly. That will make it more cinematic and engaging.